for Queen Anne's County Public Schools. Welcome to Queen Anne's County Public Schools 2021 Annual Awards Celebration. Once again, we have an opportunity to celebrate many of our exemplary teachers and outstanding employees. We have a lot to celebrate tonight, so let's go ahead and get started. Although we have a different format due to the current situation, the pandemic, this is our 18th annual celebration honoring so many of you. We're fortunate this evening to have some very prestigious dignitaries joining us for our celebration. First, I'd like to recognize Mr. Richard Smith, the President of our Board of Education, as well as members, Ms. Helen Bennett and Mrs. Tammy Harper. Welcome. The next group to recognize is our executive team of Queen Anne's County Public Schools. Our Chief Financial Officer, Mrs. Jane Powers. Our Interim Director of Operations, Mrs. Carla Pullen, right behind me. And Director of Human Resources, Mrs. Vanessa Bass. And certainly tonight would not happen without the support of local leaders and sponsors. With that said, I'd like to bring Supervisor of Instruction overseeing social studies and career and technology education to recognize our sponsors. Mr. Adam Tolley.
Good evening, everyone. Our outstanding sponsors have a role in making sure this type of evening can occur, and we want to express our sincere appreciation to each of them. All awards presented this evening were donated by our amazing community partners. Logos and websites of our sponsors will be posted on our county website as well as in our program tonight to further acknowledge them for their support. At the end of the night, we will announce the 2021-2022 Teacher of the Year. He or she will receive the use of a 2022 car from Hertrick of Easton. Thank you to all sponsors for your continued support and for making this such a special year for our 2021-2022 Teacher of the Year. Here are our platinum, gold, silver, and bronze sponsors and our other supporting partners, starting with our platinum sponsors. Next, our gold sponsors. Next, our silver sponsors. Our bronze sponsors. And finally, our supporting partners. Again, a sincere thank you to all sponsors and all of you who have made this event possible. We could not have done this without your commitment. Each of tonight's honorees will receive an assortment of prizes and gifts from our amazing partners. And now, back to Dr. King.
Thank you, Mr. Tolley. And thank you once again to all of our outstanding sponsors, and a special thank you to our friends at QACTV for supporting this live broadcast. Before we begin, I feel like I need to thank a few other people before we get started. First of all, I'd like to thank Mrs. Betsy Andrews, our Teacher of the Year, Employee of the Year Celebration chairperson, who has taken on the many and varied responsibilities to make this evening possible. We thank you. She will now work to make our Teacher of the Year winner take that person to the state level. Also, we'd like to thank Mrs. Renee Wolf, who tirelessly worked to gather our wonderful sponsors, as well as helping with the finalist interviews. She and Mrs. Julie Forbes worked on the logistics and crowd control for this evening, as well as many other details. Mr. Jeff Strait, who assisted in many areas, as well as being the videographer for tonight. We appreciate all of you for your hard work. It's wonderful that we're celebrating 18 years of recognizing our awesome teachers and employees. Although our setting is a bit different from the recent past, tonight, our very own Mr. Michael Bell will host. We are so excited. This is so awesome. Since serving as superintendent of schools, I've noticed many shining stars. All of those individuals surrounding and supporting them have just a bit of glitter around them as well. It's a blessing to witness exemplary honorees and people supporting, which I know means a lot to every honoree. There is nothing finer than honoring exceptional people, focusing on celebrating the success of individuals who educate, inspire, and foster opportunities for our more than 7,300 students to excel academically every day. Even with this new format, this kind of celebration exudes energy and momentum and is one of the most enjoyable and memorable nights of the year. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor to introduce Mr. Michael Bell, who has volunteered to anchor our celebration. Mr. Bell.
Thank you, Dr. Kane. I'm so excited and honored to share this evening with all of you, celebrating the accomplishments of 18 outstanding individuals, or as Dr. Kane put it, shining stars. And for whomever is ultimately selected as tonight's Teacher of the Year, speaking to you as a former Teacher of the Year myself, you're in great company. Reflecting back on my journey, thinking about what might benefit you most, I kept coming back to the connections. And those connections are people that you're going to have access to, connections that will continue fueling your journey, benefiting future generations of students. And by connections, I mean colleagues, inspiring colleagues at the state and national level that are equally as passionate, equally as motivating, equally as intelligent and creative as you. So please make the most of this opportunity. Tonight is also a huge night of thanks. I've often described this profession as selfless service for someone else's success. Well, tonight, it's about recognizing your success. So thank you. Thank you for using your talents, your gifts, to help unwrap and discover the talents and gifts in our children. All the while instilling hope and belief in them long before they even see it. Lastly, we give just so much of ourselves in this profession. So I hope that you take a little time just for you to savor this journey, because you remember, it's always the road behind you that's gotten you here. Congratulations to all outstanding employees being recognized this evening, and to our 5 Teacher of the Year finalists. Here they are. Mr. Andrew Andy Anders, Social Studies teacher, Centreville Middle School. Mrs. Gina Crook, 5th grade teacher, Matapeake Elementary School. Mr. Thomas Heyman, 7th grade Social Studies teacher, Centreville Middle School. Mr. Justin Lewis, Social Studies teacher, Ken Island High School. And Mrs. Stephanie McKenzie, 8th grade English teacher, Sudlersville Middle School. Now, let's begin the award ceremony. Bus drivers, Sodexo employees, and many support and operations staff are up way before dawn, making sure that children arrive safely to school, making sure that their breakfasts and their lunch are of high quality, and that buildings and infrastructure are safe and sound for students and staffs. We are fortunate to have so many outstanding people within our school system, and I know that the success of every child is a direct result of the efforts of all of you. Our first award for Outstanding Bus Driver of the Year is Dale Kinnamon. To be eligible, a bus driver must have an outstanding driving record and have a history of excellent positive relationships with students. With him is Supervisor of Transportation, Margaret Ellen, Kalmanovich. We don't thank our bus drivers enough. To recognize school bus drivers for what they do each day, carrying our county's most precious cargo, our children. This is what Mr. Kinnamon has done throughout his career. He started driving in Caroline County as a substitute before moving to Queen Anne's County, also driving as a substitute before getting his own contract. Through the years, he's driven students K to 12 and currently drives for Queen Anne's County High School and Arise Academy. Mr. Kinnamon also has a lot of great experience over his 50 years driving. Can you imagine? He shared that one time when a student got in trouble, he asked the student to write 25 sentences, but the student misunderstood him and bought him 25 cents the next day. I'm guessing all that either behavior changed or he got very rich over time. Seriously though, Mr. Kinnamon has had quite the career and appreciates the continued support of parents, teachers, principals, transportation staff, and the Board of Education. Let's give it up one more time for Mr. Kinnamon, our outstanding bus driver of the year.
Thank you, Dale.
Now, working on the front lines since the beginning of the pandemic has been, put it mildly, stressful for all of our personnel. And our custodial staff in particular have been the first line of defense in mitigating the spread of COVID-19 in our school buildings. Having a clean environment for teaching and learning to take place is critical to the success in education, and we take great pride in maintaining a safe space for our students and staff in Queen Anne's County Public Schools. So the next award is for Outstanding Operations Employee of the Year. Candidates need to serve at least 5 years of exemplary service with a demonstrated track record of high reliability and consistent dependability. This year's winner is Alphonso Sorrell. Joining Mr. Sorrell is our interim chief operating officer, Mrs. Carla Poland, and Matapeake Middle School principal, Dr. Lois McCoy. And here's a little bit about Mr. Sorrell. So he started working at Queen Anne's County Public Schools in 1998, first at Ken Allen High School, then at Ken Allen Elementary School. Now his home is Matapeake Middle School, where he's said to be hardworking, dedicated, and dependable. He has an excellent work ethic and is perpetually flexible. His take charge attitude tackles whatever situation arises. He's an amazing leader and highly respected with his team members and school staff. He ensures that every job is done just right, regardless of the time and energy needed. Mr. Sorrell's positive attitude and energetic disposition is what makes him our outstanding Operations Employee of the Year. Congratulations. The Sodexo team has continued to feed Queen Anne's County Public School children 3 meals a day, plus a snack for 7 days a week over the past year during the pandemic, including summers, holidays, periods of time when schools were closed, like back on March 13th, 2020. Do you know that by March 17th, they began providing curbside grab-and-go meals to students, as well as satelliting meals out to multiple locations to ensure all students had access to meals. And curbside grab-and-go meals continue to be available to students who have opted to remain all virtual. In all, from March 17, 2020 through March 30th, 2021, Sodexo served over 523,226 meals to students in Queen Anne's County. Now we're going to celebrate Sodexo and the team that feeds Queen Anne's County Public School children each and every day. This award will be presented by Sodexo General Manager Julia Hickey, and this year's winner is Cindy Taylor from Ken Island High School. Mrs. Taylor has been feeding students of Queen Anne's County since 1988. She started at Stevensville Middle School, was promoted to manager at Graysonville Elementary School, then Bayside Elementary School. From there, she became the countywide field manager, menu and production manager, and is now the manager at Ken Island High School. At one point during her time with Queen Anne's County Public Schools, she had the pleasure of working alongside both her mother and her daughter. That's amazing. She looks forward to coming to work and seeing all the smiling faces of students as they pick up their breakfast and their lunches. Mrs. Taylor lives in Chester with Butch, her husband of 47 years. They have 2 daughters, 4 grandchildren who also attend Queen Anne's County Public Schools. Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Cindy Taylor, Sodexo Employee of the Year. Our next award is for the Outstanding Secretary of the Year. These are people who do so much work in any office. To be eligible for this award, the candidate must demonstrate excellent organizational skills and model outstanding customer service practices. This year's winner is Mrs. Carla Altamirano from Sudlersville Middle School, joining us with Mr. Rob Watkins, principal. Mrs. Altamirano is a guidance secretary at Sudlersville Middle School, and her duties include welcoming new families to Sudlersville Middle School community, as well as assisting with the many tasks in the guidance office. She helps teachers navigate the needs of their students, providing bilingual support between home and school, but most importantly, building strong relationships with the students and their families. She is a certified level 1 interpreter, fluent in English and Spanish, and during many summers, she supported the Queen Anne's County Migrant Summer Program. She enjoys painting, learning new crafts, at least trying them once, am I right? She likes to travel and take lots of pictures. And Mrs. Altamirano is a proud member of QACPS, but most importantly, an enthusiastic and compassionate member of the Sudlersville Middle School team. Congratulations, Mrs. Altamirano. Now let's celebrate the Outstanding Para-Educator of the Year, Mrs. Heather Garner. With us again for this recognition, her principal, Mr. Rob Watkins from Sudlersville Middle School. This award recognizes a talented instructional assistant who's made significant contributions to improving student achievement and is truly a worthy part of any stellar classroom team. A 1992 graduate of Queen Anne's County High School, Mrs. Garner attended Delaware Technical Community College, where she studied graphic design. She has worked as a paraeducator here since August of 2007. Her career began at Churchill Elementary School before transferring to Sudlersville Middle School in 2012. Through her time in our system, she's had the pleasure of working with many great staff and students from both schools. Mrs. Garner resides on a small farm outside of Churchill with her husband, Mike. They have been married 27 years and stay busy raising 2 great young men, Eric and Jamie, give them a shout out, as well as a small flock of sheep. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating this year's Paraeducator of the Year, Mrs. Heather Garner. So this year's recipient of the Outstanding New Teacher of the Year award is Miss Jennifer Ports of Sothersville Elementary School. Principal Tom Walls will help present your award. Miss Ports is also homegrown, graduating from Queen Anne's County High School in 2015, having grown up just outside of Centreville. She graduated from Salisbury University in 2019, where she earned a Bachelor of Science degree in elementary education and certification in special education. Ms. Ports is now in her second year of teaching as a fourth grade special education teacher at Sothersville Elementary School. She is passionate about building strong relationships with her students and their families in order to promote a positive, supportive learning environment. Differentiated instruction is also an essential aspect of Ms. Port's teaching, as she strives to ensure that individual students' strengths are highlighted and unique needs are met. Within the next few years, Ms. Ports plans on pursuing a master's degree in special education to expand on her abilities to support each and every one of her students. It gives me great pleasure to present to you Ms. Jennifer Ports, the Outstanding New Teacher of the Year. The next award is for the Outstanding Educational Specialist of the Year. To be eligible for this award, the candidate must have served at least 3 highly successful years as a teacher, reading, or math specialist, and the candidate needs to have demonstrated an outstanding knowledge of instructional practices and have made significant contributions to improving student achievement. With us to present this award tonight is Mrs. Carol Camp, principal of Graysonville Elementary School, and this year's winner of the Educational Specialist of the Year award is Mrs. Allison Todd, math specialist at Graysonville Elementary School. Mrs. Todd earned a bachelor's degree in elementary education from Towson University. She has been in Queen Anne's County since 2007, starting as a first grade teacher at Centreville Elementary School. She then moved to Matapeake Elementary School, where she taught both 4th and 5th grades. And for the past 5 years, she's been the math specialist at Graysonville Elementary School. She loves that this role gives her the opportunity to work collaboratively with the math specialist team, as well as the GES leadership team, teachers, and of course, working directly with students. In her spare time, you will find Mrs. Todd and her husband, Jim, on the lacrosse field or the basketball court, cheering on their 2 boys, Jacob and Nicholas. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate again our Outstanding Educational Specialist of the Year, Mrs. Allison Todd. Now, one of the most visible aspects of high school life are the extracurricular programs that students participate in. So this next award is for Coach of the Year. This year's co-winners are Mr. Dan Harding and Mr. David Wagner. In thinking about the importance of re-engaging our student athletes during the year of the pandemic, no 2 advisors stand out quite as brightly as high school athletic directors Dan Harding and David Wagner, who could not even be here tonight to accept the award because they're at games. Doesn't get any more dedicated than that. And despite the twists and turns, the pivots, stops, and resets, our athletic directors pressed on to develop a safe method for students to return to play. Our gratitude goes out to these dedicated athletic directors. Without their input and expertise, athletics in the midst of COVID environment just wouldn't have been possible. Our first awardee, Mr. Dan Harding, started his career at Stevensville Middle School, where he worked in their special education department. He has been an assistant principal and an athletic director at Kennard High School since 2012. The jobs have kept him busy, but he loves them. During his tenure, Kennard High School has won a wide variety of state championships in dance, cheer, boys lacrosse, and wrestling, as well as many Bayside and regional championships. During his years at Kennard High School, many new initiatives have also started, including a team captain leadership program, sailing, equestrian, cycling, and an independent Kennard High School ice hockey team. He is very thankful to be awarded this honor and hopes to continue working hard within Queen Anne's County Public Schools for many years, and I'm sure he will. Congratulations, Coach Harding, and I believe Mrs. Carla Pullen is here to accept this honor on his behalf, the Coach of the Year. So our next co-coach is Dave Wagner. He's serving in his 4th year as athletic director at Queen Anne's County High School and his 8th year as an English teacher. As a new teacher in 2013, Dave was the assistant swim coach and was very active working athletic events at the school. When the athletic director position opened in 2017, he was excited to take on this role so he can support the outstanding teams at Queen Anne's County High. This pandemic has caused a great number of challenges for our athletic departments to overcome this year, but Mr. Wagner's worked tirelessly to provide leadership and clarity to the coaches and to the teams. Mr. Wagner would like to thank his wife Rachel, their daughter Sophie, and their in-laws Rich and Patty Harper, and the rest of his family and friends for their support, in addition to the colleagues at QACHS. Congratulations, Coach Wagner, Co-Coach of the Year. So our next outstanding award is for the Outstanding Support Employee of the Year Award, which recognizes a staff member on the support side who's demonstrated excellent performance skills and teamwork. This year's winner is Mrs. Meredith Grussing from Queen Anne's County Public Schools Central Office, Human Resources Department, and joining her, needs no introduction, Ms. Vanessa Bass, to present this award. Mrs. Grussing is the Human Resources Assistant with 2 decades of successful experience in an HR professional. She holds a bachelor's degree in Human Resources from Wilmington University. As a strong believer in proactive processes and consistencies in Human Resources Office, Meredith strives to build working relationships through confidentiality and competency. She appreciates the opportunities this county has provided over the past few years. And in life outside of human resources, Mrs. Grussing enjoys spending time with her 2 children and husband on their farm in Church Hill. We thank her for all her dedication and hard work. Ladies and gentlemen, I present you Mrs. Meredith Grussing. The next award is the Outstanding Leadership Award. The award recognizes a school-based administrator or central office supervisor for their exceptional leadership. The winner of the 2021 Outstanding Leadership Award is Mr. Michael Page, Supervisor of Instruction, overseeing science, physical education, health, environmental literacy, and like many supervisors, a whole host of other unspoken duties as assigned. He's done everything from working on policies and grants, learning management systems, board presentations, committee meetings, curriculum writing, providing professional development, you name it. Supervisors take on a lot, more than most people know. Congratulations, Mr. Michael Page. So a little bit about Mr. Page. Don't go anywhere just yet. Mr. Page received his undergraduate degree at the State University of New York in Cortland in adolescent education and biology, and his master's in education and school leadership from Wilmington University. His teaching career began in Wilmington, Delaware, where he taught for 9 years and served as the department chair for science. In 2015, he was appointed to the role of supervisor here in Queen Anne's County Public Schools and has enjoyed working alongside a tremendous group of dedicated individuals. Mr. Page is an active member of several professional communities, including the National Science Education Leadership Association, the Maryland Science Supervisors Association, president of the Queen Anne's County Administrators and Supervisors Association, and he's a dear friend and colleague to all the C&I family. He currently lives in Centreville with his wife and 5 children, where they enjoy the outdoors, sports, and spending time with each other. Congratulations, Mr. Page, for being recognized for this Outstanding Leadership Award. I know your C&I family, we're all very happy for you. The Outstanding Student Support Services Award honors a member of the Student Services team that provides exemplary service in the support of students. Helping to present this award is Mrs. Michelle Carey, principal at Kennard Elementary School. And this year's winner is Mrs. Susan Klepper, school counselor at Kennard Elementary School. A proud graduate of Queen Anne's County High School, Mrs. Klepper went on to earn a Bachelor of Science degree in elementary education from Salisbury University, and later a Master in Education in School Counseling from Wilmington University. Mrs. Klepper began her career here teaching 5th grade at Centreville Middle School. When the new Kennard Elementary School opened, she became the media specialist there and continued in that role until 2013 when she became the school counselor at Kennard. And she still serves in that position today. She is a lifelong resident of Centreville, where she lives with her husband, Buddy, and 2 children, Riley and Chase. Mrs. Klepper happily accepts this award on behalf of the numerous caring and dedicated student support employees throughout the county who work diligently to help students find social, emotional, and academic success every day. Well put. Congratulations, Mrs. Susan Klepper. All right, your next star is the Outstanding Community Volunteer of the Year. This award recognizes a parent or community member who goes above and beyond to help our children succeed. This year's winner is Mrs. Mary Ann Donnelly. Mrs. Donnelly has been involved in our school for over 15 years. After many years of coaching and managing youth sports teams, she transitioned to volunteering with both the Kent Island High School cross-country and outdoor track teams. Her largest volunteer role has been managing the Kent Island High School basketball program for the past 7 years, organizing fundraisers, team dinners, theme nights and games, youth halftime scrimmages, senior nights, community outreach, team banquets, and everything in between. Throughout this year, Mrs. Donnelly has focused her energy on creating memories and safe events for our 2021 seniors. She's been the community liaison and lead volunteer for a drive-through breakfast, a food truck night, a drive-through trunk or treat event, and ice skating night, and has more exciting events in the works for spring. Let's give it up for Mrs. Mary Ann Donnelly, 2021 Community Volunteer of the Year. Well, Dr. Kane, now we get to meet the finalists. Now I have the pleasure of introducing our first finalist for Queen Anne's County Public Schools Teacher of the Year, Mr. Andrew Andy Anders of Centreville Middle School. Mr. Anders is accepting his Crystal Apple, presented by our very own Dr. Kane and his CMS principal, Mrs. Crystal Chambers. Mr. Anders is a social studies teacher at Centreville Middle School and graduated from the University of Arkansas at Little Rock with a bachelor's degree in history and a minor in secondary education. Mr. Anders started his career in Queen Anne's County as a part-time para at Centreville Middle School. He taught 7th grade social studies and science before transitioning just to 7th grade social studies. He's been involved in History Day at the school, the county, regional, and state level. He is also social media coordinator for Upper Shore Regional History Day. He's even helped the National Junior Honor Society, has led the coding and ultimate Frisbee clubs. It's ready to get them started back up again once things get back to normal. Mr. Anders is enthusiastic and energetic teacher, and he does his best to make history interesting and engaging. He wants students to understand their connection to history, not just memorize dates. Amen to that. He would like to thank his family, his friends for all their support and encouragement, his CMS family, special thanks to his students, both current and past, that have made teaching so enjoyable and so memorable. Congratulations, Mr. Anders. Now it's time to introduce our second Teacher of the Year finalist. Let's hear it for Mrs. Gina Crook. With her is Dr. Jennifer Schreckengast, principal of Matapeake Elementary School. Mrs. Crook is an Eastern Shore native and attended Queen Anne's County Public Schools from kindergarten through graduation. She received her undergraduate degree in elementary education from the University of Maryland after teaching a variety of schools in Virginia, where she learned that cultivating relationships with students and their families is the foundation of teaching and learning. She returned to the Eastern Shore, where she teaches 5th grade at Matapeake Elementary School. She is grateful for her students and has found that one of the greatest gifts of teaching is learning with and from her students. That is so true. We can learn so much from our students, can't we? I've also learned that Ms. Crook is incredibly compassionate and understands complex social emotional needs of not only students, but families, and never allows any challenging life circumstances to limit her expectations of those students. She holds high standards, truly believes all students can succeed, spends a lot of time fostering those relationships, building that trust. Bravo. Mrs. Crook is thankful for her fellow 5th grade teammates at MES and her principal, Dr. Schreckengast, for their unwavering support and encouragement. And last but not least, Gina thanks her daughter, Gianna, for always believing in her and being certain her mama can accomplish anything. Congratulations, Ms. Crook. Now it's time to introduce our third Teacher of the Year finalist. Helping to present this award will be CMS Principal again, Ms. Crystal Chambers. Let's give a big round of applause for Mr. Thomas Heyman, 7th grade history teacher at Centreville Middle School. Born in Chestertown, Mr. Heyman received a Bachelor of Arts degree in history, as well as his teacher certification from Washington College. He was a special education teacher at CMS prior to his current position. Mr. Heyman is very active at his school. He is the National History Day, as well as the National Junior Honor Society advisor, and is active on a variety of committees. Mr. Heyman is also coordinator of the Upper Shore Regional History Day, a board member for the Queen Anne's Historical Society, and a member of the Chestertown Equity Advisory Committee. He is also an active member of the Maryland Center for History and Culture and the American Battlefield Trust. Wow, incredibly involved. Mr. Heyman makes his home in Chestertown with his son Kellen and a Basset Hound Jackson, and is extremely grateful for being nominated. Let's give it up for Teacher of the Year finalist, Thomas Heyman. Our fourth Teacher of the Year finalist is Mr. Justin Lewis. Will you please come forward and accept your award from Academic Dean of Kent Island High School, Mrs. Stacy Rankin. Justin Lewis received his bachelor's degree in history and secondary education, as well as his master's in educational leadership from Towson University. A graduate of Kent Island High School, he's now there teaching a variety of social studies courses. Mr. Lewis believes that the classroom is only a portion of the development of a student, and he relishes the opportunity to reach all kinds of students through his various roles in the school. Isn't that what it's all about, relishing that opportunity? Awesome. Mr. Lewis is a former recipient of the Roy Skiles Outstanding New Teacher Award. He's humbled to be recognized as a finalist for Teacher of the Year, and says that knowing his students, recognizing his belief in them, has been the true reward throughout this process. Mr. Lewis lives in Pasadena with his wife, Laura, and their 3 children, Allison, Daphne, and Silas. Let's celebrate Teacher of the Year finalist, Justin Lewis. Our 5th finalist for Teacher of the Year to be welcomed is from Sudlersville Middle School. She is accompanied by her principal, Mr. Rob Watkins. Please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Stephanie McKenzie. Mrs. McKenzie completed her master's degree in secondary education from Wilmington University. She and her husband, Matthew, just fell in love with the Eastern Shore, put down roots. She worked at Stevensville Middle School, teaching 7th and 8th grade English and social studies. She then moved to Sudlersville Middle School as a Title I reading specialist, and later accepted a position of 8th grade English language arts teacher. She is an active member of the school community, participating in a variety of committees. She has found her calling at Sudlersville Middle School, and is blessed to call this amazing community home. Hardworking, dedicated, driven, as well as being an advocate for social emotional learning and the mental health of all students, Mrs. McKenzie is thankful for this opportunity to represent our tremendous school system, and gives a shout out to all the tireless, phenomenal teachers and staff. Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Stephanie McKenzie, our 5th finalist for Teacher of the Year. And now, one of my Teachers of the Year. We have a special spotlight reflection from the 2020-2021 Teacher of the Year, Miss Amber Wright. I will say, as Miss Wright's getting ready there, she has just done an outstanding job representing Queen Anne's County Public Schools and all of the arts. And I'll add, during this unique time, she has done this for many years leading up to now. So welcome, Miss Wright, and we want to hear what you've been up to this year.
All righty. Well, good evening, everyone. Good evening. It is an honor to stand before you and deliver my farewell speech. To the finalists, I say, congratulations. You deserve this. Take the time to take a deep breath and enjoy the moment. Thank you to the committee for selecting me as Teacher of the Year 2020-21. And thank you to the companies, the Board of Education, and the county commissioners for their generous outpouring of gifts. To Dr. Kane and to your staff, I say thank you for always uplifting me with encouraging words and positive well wishes. To my wonderful staff at Kent Island High School and administration, there are not enough words to share how grateful I am to you for being supportive and flexible with me when I needed it. I am truly blessed to work at KIHS and to call the administrators and staff my friends. To my supervisor, Mr. Bell, thank you so much, sir, for being a constant supporter of me and my program. Thank you for always blowing us up all over the state so that everyone can see what wonderful dance pieces we create at Kent Island. To my team who has listened to me all year, thank you for your support. I could not have done this without you. To my family, my friends, thank you for the cards, the phone calls, and even the emails. At times I go back and read them for encouragement. To Betsy and Jeff, oh, thank you for holding my hand through this journey of Teacher of the Year and helping me to make all the deadlines and activities. I say to you, thank you. To my mother and my father and my sweet and patient boy, Andrew, thank you for staying up with me late nights while I join various events, and thank you for being with me as I write many speeches for Teacher of the Year. I love you all so much. To my students, their families, and the community, thank you for cheering me on this whole time. You are truly the best. And to Abby Skaggs, who took the time to nominate me for this prestigious award, I say to you, my dear, you changed my narrative. And for that, I will forever be thankful. Again, I am humbled and honored to have served as Queen Anne's County Teacher of the Year. So what has this meant to me to be Teacher of the Year? Well, reflecting on my experiences this year, I would say it was indeed different from my predecessors. But in many ways, it was very much the same. I had opportunities to attend various professional development sessions, and I've attended virtual outings, one in which I met some kind folks from Smith Island. Yes, these experiences were different, but here is the one thing that wasn't different. I was able to represent the fine teachers of Queen Anne's County. I took being Teacher of the Year seriously because I knew I represented those teachers who respect students in and out of the classroom. I knew that I represented those teachers who reached out past the classroom walls into the community to extend learning. I knew that I represented those teachers who had high expectations for students, whether virtual or in person, because the show must still go on. I knew I represented those teachers who cared when no one else did. I knew I represented those teachers who showed love and compassion to the students who were struggling. I knew I represented those teachers whose hearts were so big that they were willing to meet students where they were. Yes, I know as teachers, we have tough jobs and we wear many hats, and I knew you were counting on me to represent you well, and I certainly hope I did. So now, here I am, at the end of my reign. What have I learned? Oh boy. Again, while reflecting on this year, I have learned to expect the unexpected This year has taught me that lessons might not always go as planned due to many factors. But whatever the case, I have learned to just roll with it. I have learned quickly that to think outside of the box was over and done with. There was no box. All those lines that we drew in past years, oh yes, they were all erased. I had to reimagine teaching. I had to bloom where I was planted. So whatever the situation, as long as the safeguards are in place, I can make it work. I have learned to incorporate different words during my teaching day, like, please pull up your mask, and, oh, remember your mask, and, oh, don't forget to sanitize and wash your hands. I bet you've also incorporated those words in your daily routine as well. In addition to my new verbiage, I've also learned to create more lessons that focus on social and emotional learning. Not every student thrives in a virtual learning environment, and those who do not need an outlet. Some need to talk, some need to draw, some need to dance, write, sing, be creative, be active, and read. Whatever it is, this year has reiterated my practice of slow down and listen. One of the biggest lessons, however, I believe I learned, and that was, don't take myself so seriously. Schoology alone taught me how to laugh at myself. It also taught the students how to laugh at me too. It also reminded me that everyone has a learning curve. And from September to November, Schoology brought some realness into my world. There were many moments where I took deep breaths, but look at me now. I can troubleshoot, change gears on a dime, and not even bat an eye. So what do I see for the future of education? This world is different and ever-changing. And if we're going to graduate students who are competitive in a real world, we better get with the program. We have got to continue to move forward and prepare our students for a future outside of our classrooms. We must make sure we are giving our students every opportunity to compete and win. What we used to do is an old way of thinking, and it is simply not good enough. We must continue to be forward thinkers through technology and conversations with one another. We learn from one another. Students of today are smarter and wiser. They want to share their stories, and they want to hear about others' stories. And here's the thing. They're going to do it. They're going to do it with or without us. So we might as well provide a safe opportunity and space for them to share their stories and let us celebrate our differences. We must continue to embrace every child every day in order to nurture them so that they will be independent thinkers, explorers, and will mature into productive citizens. Lastly, we must continually push forward so that our students can sit at anyone's table and have intelligent conversations like their counterparts. It is my hope that we continue to strive for equity and excellence every day. Our students are counting on us, and we can't let them down. In closing, I sincerely say once again, thank you for awarding me this prestigious award. Again, it has truly been my honor to serve. Best wishes to you all, and I really, really hope the best for all of you. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Ms. Wright. In your final act as Queen Anne's County Teacher of the Year, you know how to make us proud. And So I guess that pretty much concludes the night's activities. We need to find out who the Queen Anne's County Teacher of the Year is. Remember, the 2021-22 Teacher of the Year will also receive the use of a new car, sponsored by Hertrick Ford of Easton, as well as a plethora of other goodies. Dr. Kane, distinguished board members, would you please take the stage for the unveiling of the moment everyone's all been waiting for?
And as you come forward, it was a lot for me to contain myself and sit in that seat while Mrs. Wright was talking. She is just an inspiration. I am so proud, and I know by the heads I see shaking, I know that you are too. She has truly represented the teachers of Queen Anne's County Public Schools well. Give her another round of applause. It's that time. First of all, before we move forward, I'd like to thank Mr. Bell. Thank you, Mr. Bell, so much. We truly appreciate all of your hard work as MC this evening, and thank you for volunteering to help out. Thank you so much. And now, this is the moment that we've all been waiting for. If we had a drum roll, we'd do a drum roll. That's what I got. There we go. And so right now, I want to thank all of the Teacher of the Year finalists, each and every one of you. Know how very, very proud we are of each of you. The work you have done is exemplary, and you stand as a model for every single teacher in Queen Anne's County Public Schools. So we will give a round of applause to each of you. And so at this time, I'd like to ask our 5 finalists to please stand again and be recognized when I call your name. And when I do call your name, please remain standing. First, we have Mr. Andy Andrews. Mrs. Gina Crook, Matapeake Elementary. Mr. Thomas Heyman from Centreville. Mr. Justin Lewis from Kennard High School. And Mrs. Stephanie McKenzie, Sudlersville. Thank you each. Please be seated. I'd like to also thank the selection committee for its hard work. They did not have an easy task trying to find out or choose from among so many outstanding candidates. Well done. Only one of our finalists could be selected to represent us in the fall for the Maryland Teacher of the Year competition. So, Mrs. Andrews, may I have the envelope, please? Thank you. And I don't, just for the public, I don't know who's in here. It is my choice to be surprised like you. I don't want to be smiling extra to anybody, so I just say, give me the envelope. So, the winner of this year's Teacher of the Year is the 2021-22 Teacher of the Year is Stephanie McKenzie. There we go. That is absolutely outstanding. We are so very proud of you. Congratulations. Come forward, Mrs. McKenzie. I know how excited you are, but I'm going to turn the microphone over to you anyway, because you are our new Teacher of the Year.
I've rehearsed this speech, I can't tell you how many times, and all of a sudden I've gone blank. When I first read that I was nominated for Teacher of the Year, I felt confused. Why me? All I do every day is listen to the students, the kids walking into my room, and respond to what they need. I create lessons that'll be fun, and of course they're always tied to standards. Then when Dr. Kane showed up in my room, I was overwhelmed. Me? Really? Slowly over the last few weeks, I've had my fellow teachers and staff congratulate me, parents commenting on social media, it's about time, and students telling me that they hope I win. Well, kiddos, we did it, and I dedicate this to you. And I know you're watching. Throughout my years here in Queen Anne's County Public Schools, I have met some absolutely amazing people. So first, I want to thank all of those of my past that helped shape me into the teacher I am today. I was a little rough around the edges at first when I started 10 years ago, but with your help, your grace, I am the person I am today, and you have helped me to grow. Thank you to my amazing husband for all of your patience, understanding, and flexibility throughout my career. Without you, this would not be possible. Thank you to my daughter, Haley, for teaching me to love beyond the confines of what I thought I knew. Thank you to my parents for instilling values in me to advocate and drive for those without a voice and the importance of civic responsibility. And I cannot forget my amazing co-teaching team. Thank you, Heidi and Heather, for being right by my side, co-planning with me, and just having fun in this virtual learning craziness and helping me with your expertise. Lastly, thank you to my current administration, Becky and Rob. Your unwavering support and honesty and openness allowed me to learn about what it takes to be a reliable leader that staff can count on, talk to, and trust. Now, let me be very clear, I did not get into education for myself. I wanted to be an advocate for those without a voice. My students are the backbone to every decision that I have ever made and will ever make, and that is why my platform is children's mental health awareness. According to a 2019 study, so before the pandemic, the National Institute on Mental Health stated that 49.5% of teens experienced a mental health concern. This was before the pandemic. We are already in crisis. Cyberbullying, suicide, drug abuse, homelessness, food scarcity, all of this was already prevalent before the pandemic, and now it is just heightened. We teach students that are designated by the state as homeless, students that are taking care of their siblings on a daily basis, students that have taken on jobs at 12 years old to try to put food on the table, students that are going through divorces, students that have experienced loss during this pandemic. They have been through trauma. We have been through trauma. You have been through trauma. As a county, we have started to talk about mental health, and we have programs like the Zones of Regulation, but we have just begun to chip away at the iceberg before us. What lies beneath the surface will come to the light as more kids come to our buildings next week. We need resources, connections, and more trauma training in our schools. Our community has a vast number of resources that we can connect with our students and our teachers. We must understand that our role is evolving. We must meet the students where they are now, not where they have been in the past. Empathy is a must. Our students, our kids, our future needs us now more than ever before. And we have a chance to have a lasting positive impact on our kids. We can rebound from this, just as we have rebounded from historical events of our past. Children's mental health is the pivotal start as we bring our kids back next week. Trust your instincts. Listen to them. Respond. Be the person our kids need right now. Someone they can trust, someone they can rely on. Be ready to listen and respond. Our kids need us. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations, Mrs. McKenzie. And I believe, you're not only looking at Queen Anne's County Teacher of the Year, I think you might be looking at the next Maryland State Teacher of the Year, and we'll see how things go at the Nationals. You've been a great audience, wonderful supporters of Queen Anne's County Public Schools tonight. Thank you, and have a safe journey home. Good night, everyone.